Hey folks, it's Duke here from GeoFolks. Today we're going to work on using Python to list fields. So say we have a feature class and there's a ton of fields. It can be cumbersome to look at if you're just looking at an attribute table. But we can use Python to make all these fields names into a list. So first we'll go to the Analysis tab. We'll go to Python, we'll click the drop down, and then we'll click Python Notebook. Within the Python Notebook, we'll start by importing arcpy. So we'll type import and then arcpy. After that, we'll click run. This will put us in the next cell where we can enter in what we need to make a variable from a feature class that we want to work in. So you can see here we created a variable and we have it equal to the US average income, which is a feature class already in a map in the data frame. So this will create a variable out of this feature class once we hit run. Next, we'll create an empty list in which we will add the field names to eventually. These will be the field names of the feature class from the attribute table, so we can click run for that. And now we'll use a for loop to loop through the field names using the arcpy.ListFields function in order to get, for our variable, for our feature class, the name of the fields. So we'll go for field and arcpy.ListFields with in parentheses our variable. Then on the second line, we'll say field list.append and then field.name within parentheses. So this will give us, for our feature class, a list of fields within the field list that we just created, the empty list, the names of these fields within this feature class. And then last, we'll print the field list that we just created. And this will give us our names of our fields within this feature class in list form. So it's a bit less cumbersome than looking in the attribute table. But this is all up to personal preference. But this can be beneficial when you're doing Python geoprocessing with the feature class field names to have these fields concatenated into a list. So let's break this down again. First, we imported arcpy. We created a variable using one of the feature classes within our data frame. We created an empty list in which we will put the field names from that feature class. We created a for loop for the fields in this feature class. We want to name these and then append them to the list. And last, we printed this list so we can see the field names within list format. Word of advice when using Python: the indentations and the specific syntax are very important, and I can provide examples whenever needed to help. So if we take a deeper look into the list fields function, which is really the crux of the script that we're developing, we figure out that it returns a list of fields in a feature class shapefile or table in a specific data set. The return list can be limited with search criteria or name and field type and will contain field objects. The syntax is the list fields, open parentheses, the data set, comma, a wildcard, which we'll go over, comma, and then field type, which we will also go over. To exploit the wildcard and the field type, first, we'll right click on the most recent cell with the for loop and we'll delete that. Here is the new for loop we'll be using with the wildcard. So in order to use this, we'll want to click on the cell above, which creates the blank field list, and we'll want to rerun that. So then our field list variable is blank again. So we'll click on it and we'll run. Now we can go back to the new code and we can rerun it with the wildcard. And so the for loop is the same, it's just we've made a comma after the input feature class, and then in parentheses we have capital CO and then an asterisk. This represents a wildcard phrase. So what we're doing here is we're saying any field name that starts with CO with any characters after that, we want to select that and append it to the field list. And so you can see from the printed field list that all the field names that start with a capital CO have been added to the field list. So now we've looked at using wildcards. Now we'll look at selecting for field type. So we'll delete the cell. We'll rerun to get a blank field list in this cell. And then now we'll use the same for loop, but instead of selecting for a wildcard, we'll select for field type. And so we'll put comma and then we'll put field underscore type equals double. And so if we run this, then we get all the field names in which the field type is equal to double. And so we can check this by going back to our attribute table and going to fields and looking to see what fields are actually double. And we can see here 2 examples of fields that are double, which were selected through our Python script. So just a few examples of how you can use Python to select fields within a feature class. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more content.